You saw a football team, though, more than anything, that played the way Mike Elko wants his team to play.
Hello, everyone, and welcome into TexAgs Rewind, presented by Specs in the Rollo Insurance Studio. David Nuno. I've got Jackson Oxney with me making his debut on the show. We got Nick Savage. Gentlemen, it was a happy Monday as we expected it. Hopefully, it's going to be a very happy next couple of weeks. Favorite part of the show, Jackson?
Gotta love Jackie Sherrill every time he comes on the show, and his perspective as a former coach. And Billy Liucci, of course, always great.
Billy was good. Nick, you want to pick another one?
Yeah, I'll go OB. How about that? I'll go OB.
Olin was really good. You know who else was good? Tom Hart. Not because he's a Mizzou grad and he was probably crying that his team got dismantled, but he actually had some good insight. He always does. I like Tom Hart. I'm a big Tom Hart guy.
Broadcast. I said he probably got to broadcast the biggest upset of the 2020s. It's going to be up there whenever we roll around.
Vandy versus Bama. He was the play-by-play guy on that one on ESPN. That and more. It is the TexAgs Rewind. Check it.
I'm going to say the turning point, and this isn't sexy at all, but
it's okay. It doesn't have to be sexy. Sexy is winning.
It was because it wasn't an A&M play.
Okay, that's fine.
To me, the turning point might have been, because I could come up with another one that was A&M play early, but it might have been the Luther Burden touchdown that got called back.
Oh, I had that on my list as one of the options.
Because that was like the last time I thought Missouri was in the game.
Yep.
You know, it would have been 10-7, but no, your guy was downfield, and he was. It wasn't even. So then at that point, A&M shut them down. And I don't think we really heard from Luther Burden or the Missouri offense again until they got that garbage touchdown when they were already down 34-0.
The first play before that, or excuse me, not the first play, the play right before that, they missed Theo Weiss on could have been potentially a touchdown. Or
skinny post, and I think he would have scored.
Yeah. And then, by the way, on the ensuing possession is when the Aggies scored another Amari Daniels touchdown. That drive went 65 yards, 8 plays. So those are the plays that I was thinking about, OB.
Now, it might have been this, because early, right? The Aggies were looking at 3rd and 8, and Connor completed his first pass, but it was a 3-yard loss.
The one that he went backwards on the pass.
Right. It was a swing pass to Jabri.
Yep.
And he goes back to Jabri, and reference 13-yard gain. They picked up a key 3rd down. Then next play, 15-yard gain, they go down and score.
Yep.
And maybe when you saw him complete that pass, come back, you're like, wait a minute, we're getting a vision of what Connor Wigman's going to be today.
Yep. Well, let's kind of go through the why or the other turning point. My turning point that really wasn't a turning point in the game, but I think it could be a little extra motivation, if you will. We talked about at the top of the show the blanket that was sent to Theo Weiss's room, and there it is. There's the tweet from it where Will Lee did say, "Wasn't me," okay? And there's some video of when Theo Weiss came into Kyle Field with the blanket draped over him, you know, kind of coming in a little cocky.
Love it.
ABC 17, somewhere, I guess, out of Columbia with the video covers there. You know, making it a bigger story than it needed to be. I think that, by the way, was not the turning point, but a potential turning point in that locker room for that defense. Because then I think we have one more tweet to show you. Pro Football Focus had Will Lee as they had his ratings. There it is. Here's his number: 2 tackles, 4 PBUs, 5 targets, and no receiving yards when he was in the game. And then I have the Pro Football Focus grades on Theo versus Missouri: 43 coverage snaps, 5 times targeted, 0 catches allowed, 1 pass breakup. Is that good, OB?
That's outstanding.
Turning point is the blanket that wasn't sent that I'm glad.
Yeah.
Coach Sherrill, what do you think about some of the drama leading into the game? When I say drama, it was very minor drama and sometimes a little bit social media driven. But that being said, where Eli Drinkowitz talked about the other guy when talking about Connor Wigman and thinking, you know, it's just semantics, it was going to be Marcel Reed. And then some of the conversations about Kyle Field being, you know, that practice could be a little bit louder. What did you think about all that heading into this game and then the beating that happened afterward?
Well, I will say this. The Kyle Field, when you talk about being loud, it is loud. And it does affect the opponents, and which gives you a home field advantage. That's why those guys in Vegas always look at the home field. And put that in their equation. So, but after the game, comments, that's not a place to make public comments, and I'll leave it at that.
Great answer, sir.
Okay. And, all right, now, Coach, I know you hear it. Everybody's hearing it. The national reaction to A&M and that win over Missouri was like, hey, the Aggies look like a team that's going to be a strong contender to get into the playoff. There are even some say, hey, you could see A&M winning the rest of their games leading up to the Texas game and all those things. When you know your team's hearing that too. So as a coach, do you bring that to their attention and celebrate and say, hey, listen, here's what's possible? Or how do you, or do you rather play it low key? And, how do you keep your guys, focus on what still needs to be done, I guess is what I'm trying to ask.
Well, the most important is, and you hear it in regardless football, basketball, baseball, you take one at a time. But, I always took it by months. And I said, you want to have a winning month. If you have 4 games in a month, you want to make sure that you win 3 to 4. And, we have 2 more games in October, and then we have, the 4 games in November. So we have to, that's what I did. But each game is very important. Let's go to the Alabama game. A week before, they beat Georgia. They were the talk of the nation. And then they go in to play Vanderbilt, which Vanderbilt hadn't beaten them in 40 years. And then all of a sudden, they're not the same team mentally, and they just waited around until they couldn't pull it out.
All right, here we go. Yeah, here's the soundbite.
I mean, at this point, I know on their depth chart it says the other kid's the starting quarterback, but I mean that's just semantics in my opinion. The guy's 3-0 as the starter, and whether he's listed as questionable or whatever, I don't see them going back. So they're 3-0. They clearly have a different offensive identity with this guy as the quarterback, and they've developed an offense that fits around his system. It's a little, I wouldn't say a little bit different. It's a lot different than the first game of the year. So, I mean, if they go with the other one, they go with the other one. But they've kind of already built the offense towards this, towards Marcel. And, I think he went out with the press conference yesterday. So whether or not there's semantics around it, I fully anticipate Marcel being 3-0 as a starter is going to be the starting quarterback.
There you go.
That was midweek, I presume?
I think it was Monday or Tuesday.
Yeah. Here's what I hear from that. What I hear, and I don't mean to be spinning it, but what I hear is that Eli Drinkwitz thinks Marcel Reed is a great quarterback and thinks that he's better than Connor Wigman, and thinks that if I were in A&M's position, would I play Connor Wigman, healthy or not, because he hasn't looked great so far this season. Right? He didn't look great against Notre Dame. Or would I play the guy who has won 3 straight games and has us in a rhythm offensively, and we look better with Marcel Reed at quarterback? That's how coaches oftentimes think, right? Like, well, what would we do? Well, hey, staff, what would we do in that situation? We play the kid who's won 3 straight. Yeah, that's what they're going to do. And that's sometimes how you reach those conclusions, even though, it's kind of staring you right in the face. So what was it, Princess Bride, where they switched the poison like 2 and 3 times?
Oh, yeah.
Like, you think that I think that you think that that's the poison, but the real, like, sometimes we complicate things. Like, there's a depth chart. Connor Wigman's listed number 1. He's going to start and go 18 and 22. Ouch.
58-14 in 3 SEC games they've led at the half. And that Arkansas game, it felt like by halftime you felt like they were the better team. Now you found yourself in anyone's ball game because you couldn't punch in another score or 2. But they went out and they beat the crap out of Florida, demoralized them early, kind of pretty much ended the game 27-6, 33-6. That's how far ahead they were. They've been ahead 33-6 and 34-0 in 2 SEC football games, which is absolutely wild wild to think that they've had that kind of lead against SEC opposition twice now, including a top 10 team. In between, they played a Bowling Green team with a backup quarterback making only his second start, and they showed you, along with that quarterback, a ton of mental toughness down the stretch. They were 10 yards away from trailing going into the fourth quarter. And people, again, kind of had some questions. And then they went out against Arkansas, and they won a hard-fought game. And we're going, well, but they only scored 21, and 7 of those points were definitely created by the defense. But what they kept doing is learning lessons along the way, and they kept showing you how physically and mentally tough they were. They kept showing you. So while Notre Dame was game one of the Elko era, I think month one of the Elko era was learning as a team how to play the kind of football he wants his team to play. And of course, any coach wants his team to play 34-0 and 41-10 football. I get that. I'm talking about the style of football. And you saw signs of it, and then Connor gets healthy, he comes back, that passing game ignites, and it kind of all comes together. You saw physicality on both sides of the line of scrimmage, domination against Missouri on both sides of the line. You saw receivers making plays, a quarterback throwing it up, letting his guys make plays. You saw guys fighting through tackles, runners, receivers. You saw defenders chasing and fighting off blocks and making plays, harassment of quarterbacks, blanket coverage in the secondary, not just by Willie, but by the whole group. You saw a football team, though, more than anything, that played the way Mike Elko wants his team to play.
Do you have a nickname, Oxney?
Ox.
Okay, I was going to say Ox.
When I was a kid, it was Little Ox.
Little Ox?
Yeah.
Now you're the big Ox?
Sure, yeah.
All right, Ox. Tell people what to do.
All right, you're going to want to like, comment, and subscribe.
Please do. Thanks so much for watching. We'll see you next time.